My fiancée ghosted me without explanation and expected me to chase her. I didn't. I chose distance instead. The silence that followed slowly changed everything. And when she finally reached out, the situation was no longer in her control. So you're really not going to call me back? You're just going to let this be it? Her voice cracked through the voicemail, but I didn't pick up. I stared at my phone screen as her name flashed for the 7th time that evening. My finger hovered over the decline button. 3 weeks ago, she'd done the exact same thing to me, except I'd called 32 times. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. I'm 29, and until a month ago, I was engaged to the woman I thought I'd spend my life with. We'd been together for 4 years, engaged for 6 months. Then she vanished. It started on a Tuesday. We'd just finished dinner at her apartment. Nothing unusual, nothing tense. She kissed me goodnight at the door, told me she loved me, and I drove home thinking about the wedding venue we were supposed to visit that weekend. The next morning, my text went unanswered. I figured she was busy at work. By evening, I called. Straight to voicemail. I tried again an hour later. Same thing. Day 2, I started worrying. I called her office, and her coworker said she'd called in sick. I drove to her apartment. No answer. Her car was in the parking lot. I knocked for 10 minutes, then sat in my car for another 20, wondering if I should call the police. Then my phone buzzed. A text from her. I need space. Don't contact me. That was it. 8 words after 4 years together. I'll admit, I lost it a little. I called repeatedly, left voicemails asking what I'd done wrong, begging her to just talk to me. Her best friend wouldn't return my messages either. Her mother told me she didn't know what was going on, but that her daughter was figuring things out. Figuring what out? I replayed every conversation we'd had for weeks, searching for the moment I'd screwed up. There was nothing. No fight, no tension, no warning. After a week of silence, something in me shifted. I was sitting in my apartment, staring at my phone, about to call her again. Then I stopped. My thumb hovered over her contact. I thought about the last 7 days. The panic, the desperation, the humiliation of begging someone to explain why they'd abandoned me. I put the phone down. If she wanted space, I'd give her space. All of it. Week 2 was harder than I expected. Not because I missed her, though I did, but because the anger started setting in. Who does that to someone they claim to love? Who accepts a proposal, plans a wedding, then ghosts their fiancé without a single explanation? I stopped checking my phone every 5 minutes. Stopped hoping for a text. Started going to the gym again, something I'd neglected during the chaos. My buddy Connor asked if I wanted to grab drinks, and for the first time in 2 weeks, I said yes. She really just dipped? Connor asked, halfway through his second beer. Completely, I said. No explanation. 8 words. I need space. Don't contact me. He let out a low whistle. That's cold, man. What are you gonna do? Nothing, I said. Nothing. She asked for space. I'm giving it to her. Connor raised his eyebrows. You're not even gonna try to figure out what happened? I tried for a week. She made her choice. Week 3, she started testing the waters. A like on an old Instagram photo. A reaction to my story. I ignored it. Then came a text. Hey. Just that. No apology, no explanation. Hey. I stared at it for a full minute, then put my phone face down on the table. 2 hours later, another text. Can we talk? I didn't respond. The next morning. Please. I know I messed up. Still nothing from me. That's when the calls started. One after another, lighting up my phone while I was at work. I let every single one go to voicemail. Each message was more desperate than the last. I don't understand why you're ignoring me. This isn't like you. Can you please just pick up? I almost laughed at that last one. This isn't like me. What she'd done wasn't like her either, or so I'd thought. On day 23, she showed up at my apartment. I opened the door to find her standing there, eyes red, makeup smudged. We need to talk, she said. Do we? I asked. Yes. Please. Can I come in? I didn't move from the doorway. You wanted space. I gave it to you. That's not fair, she said, her voice rising. What's not fair is disappearing on someone without explanation. I know. I'm sorry, but I can't explain. I don't need an explanation anymore. She froze. What? I spent a week trying to figure out what I did wrong, I said. You didn't. Let me finish. I spent a week in hell, thinking I destroyed our relationship somehow. Replaying every conversation, every moment, wondering where I failed you. Tears started rolling down her cheeks. You didn't fail me. Then why did you leave? She opened her mouth, then closed it. Opened it again. I got scared. 3 words I'd waited weeks to hear, and they meant nothing. Scared of what? I asked. Of making a mistake. Of marrying the wrong person. The wrong person. For years, and I was potentially the wrong person. Did you figure it out? I asked, my voice flat. Figure what out? Whether I'm the wrong person. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. No. I mean yes. I mean, you're not the wrong person. You don't sound sure. I'm sure now. That's why I'm here. I leaned against the doorframe. You put me through hell because you weren't sure about me, and now you show up expecting me to just take you back? I'm not expecting anything, she said quietly. Then why are you here? Because I love you. Because I made a horrible mistake. You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. Her face crumpled. Please don't do this. Do what? Exactly what you did to me. That's not fair, she repeated. You keep saying that, I said. Can we please just talk inside? Not in the hallway. I considered it for a moment, then stepped aside. She walked in, and I closed the door behind her. She sat on the couch, the same couch we'd watched movies on dozens of times. I stayed standing. Talk, I said. She took a shaky breath. My sister got divorced last year. I knew this already. Her older sister, married for 3 years, husband had an affair. I know. It destroyed her. Completely destroyed her. And I started thinking about what would happen if that was us. I've never cheated on you. I know that. But she never thought her husband would either. Nobody thinks it'll happen to them. So you ghosted me because your sister got divorced? Not just that, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Then what? My parents. They got married young, just like we're planning to. My dad told me once, years ago, that he wasn't sure he'd made the right choice. That sometimes he wondered what his life would have been like if he'd waited. I felt my jaw tighten. So you thought you'd find out what your life would be like without me? No. I just needed time to think. You had 4 years to think. She started crying harder. I know I hurt you. I know what I did was wrong. But I was drowning in doubt, and I didn't know how to tell you. So instead you said nothing. I didn't know what to say. How about the truth? How about I'm having doubts? Can we talk about this? Would you have understood? I would have tried. She looked up at me, mascara streaking her face. Would you really? Or would you have been just as hurt? She had a point, but I wasn't ready to give her that. I would have been hurt, I admitted. But at least I would have known why. At least I would have been part of the conversation instead of just discarded. I didn't discard you. That's exactly what you did. You threw me away like I meant nothing and expected me to just wait around until you figured out whether you wanted me back. That's not what happened. Then tell me what happened. She was quiet for a long moment. I went to stay with my sister, she finally said. I needed to get away from everything, clear my head. She told me I was being an idiot, that I was about to lose the best thing that ever happened to me. Smart woman. She made me write down every reason I had for doubting us. Every fear, every concern. Then she made me write down every reason I wanted to marry you. She pulled out her phone, opened her notes app, and held it out to me. I didn't take it. I don't need to see your list. Please. Against my better judgment, I took the phone. The doubts section was short. Fear of divorce. Fear of settling too young. Fear of not knowing if this is really right. The reasons section went on for paragraphs. He makes me laugh every single day. He's the first person I want to talk to when something good happens. He held me through my grandmother's death without once making it about him. He knows my coffee order and my bad days and exactly when I need space versus when I need a hug. I stopped reading and handed the phone back. I came to my senses, she said. I realized I was sabotaging the best thing in my life because I was scared of what ifs. But by the time I figured it out, you'd stop calling. Yeah, I said. And that terrified me more than anything. Because I realized you might actually be done. I am done. Her face went pale. What? I'm done chasing you, I clarified. I'm done being the one who has to prove I'm worth staying for. I'm done wondering when the next time you'll get cold feet and disappear will be. There won't be a next time. You don't know that. You didn't think there'd be a first time either. She set her phone down on the coffee table. So what are you saying? I'm saying I don't know if I can trust you anymore. The words hung in the air between us. She nodded slowly, more tears falling. I understand. Do you? I think so. I broke your trust. That doesn't just come back overnight. Or at all, I said. She flinched. So is this it? We're just over. I sat down in the chair across from her, finally. I don't know, I said honestly. What would it take? For you to trust me again? I don't know that either. She wiped her eyes. Is there anything I can do? You can start by understanding that you don't get to put me through hell and then decide when we're okay again. That's not how this works. I know. And you can understand that I'm not going to forget what you did just because you came back. I don't expect you to forget, she said quietly. What do you expect? Honestly, nothing. I don't have the right to expect anything from you. It was the first thing she'd said that felt completely true. You're right, I said. You don't. She looked at me, and for the first time since she'd shown up, she didn't look like she was trying to convince me of anything. She just looked broken. I should go, she said, standing up. I didn't stop her. She walked to the door, then turned back. For what it's worth, I really am sorry. Not just for what I did, but for making you doubt yourself. You didn't deserve that. No, I didn't. She nodded, opened the door, and left. The apartment felt impossibly quiet after she was gone. I sat there for a long time, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from her. I left the ring on your kitchen counter. Do with it what you want. I walked to the kitchen. There it was, the engagement ring I'd spent 3 months' salary on, sitting next to the coffee maker. I picked it up, held it up to the light. It was beautiful. It was also a symbol of a promise that had already been broken. I put it in my desk drawer and closed it. 2 days later, my mom called. I heard she came by, she said. Connor's big mouth, no doubt. Yeah. And nothing. She apologized. I told her I don't trust her. She left. Are you okay? I think so. You think so? I don't know, Mom. Part of me wants to forgive her. But part of me knows that if I take her back, I'm telling her it's okay to treat me like that. Those aren't your only two options, she said gently. What do you mean? You can forgive her without taking her back. You can take time without making a final decision. You can even take her back with conditions. There's a whole spectrum between everything's fine and we're over forever. I hadn't thought about it like that. I just don't want to be an idiot, I said. Wanting to work things out with someone you love doesn't make you an idiot. But ignoring red flags does. So what do I do? What do you want to do? That was the question I'd been avoiding. What did I want? I wanted the woman I'd proposed to, the one who said yes with tears in her eyes and kissed me like I was her whole world. But that woman had disappeared. The woman who showed up at my door was different. Scared, broken, unsure. Was that the same person, just showing a different side? Or had I never really known her at all? A week passed. She didn't contact me again, and I didn't contact her. I started sleeping better. Started feeling more like myself. Started wondering if maybe this was for the best. Then her mother called. I hope it's okay that I'm reaching out, she said. Of course. I wanted you to know that she's not doing well. She barely leaves her room. She's convinced she destroyed the best relationship she'll ever have. I didn't know what to say to that. I'm not asking you to forgive her, her mother continued. But I wanted you to know that she's genuinely devastated by what she did. Whatever was going through her head, she knows now that it was a mistake. I appreciate you telling me, I said carefully. But I need to do what's right for me, not what makes her feel better. I understand. I'd expect nothing less. You're a good man, and she's a fool for risking you. After we hung up, I felt even more conflicted. Another week. Then a letter arrived in the mail. Her handwriting on the envelope. I almost threw it away without opening it. But curiosity won. Inside was 3 pages, front and back. I'm not writing this to try to change your mind. It started. I'm writing this because I need you to know the full truth, and I couldn't say it to your face. The letter detailed everything. Her sister's divorce had triggered something in her. Yes, but it went deeper than that. Her father had told her, years ago during a low moment in her parents' marriage, that he sometimes regretted marrying young. That conversation had planted a seed of doubt that she'd never addressed. When we got engaged, instead of joy, she felt panic. Not because of me, but because she realized she was about to make a permanent decision, and she'd never dealt with her fear of commitment. I should have talked to you, the letter continued. I should have been honest about my fears. But I was ashamed. How do you tell someone you love that you're terrified of spending forever with them? How do you admit that you're not sure, when they're standing there, confident and certain, offering you everything you said you wanted? She wrote about the 3 weeks at her sister's place. How she'd cried herself to sleep most nights. How she'd finally gone to therapy and started unpacking years of unprocessed fear. How she'd realized, with painful clarity, that she'd hurt me in exactly the way her father had hurt her mother. By choosing silence over honesty. By disappearing instead of fighting for the relationship. The letter ended simply. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to take me back. But I need you to know that you did nothing wrong. This was never about you being not enough. This was about me being too scared to be honest about my own brokenness. I'm getting help now. I'm working through it. But I understand if you've moved on. I understand if you can't forgive this. Just know that you deserved better, and I'm sorry I couldn't give it to you. I'll always love you, even if from a distance." I read the letter 3 times. Then I folded it up and put it in the drawer with the ring. I thought about what my mom had said, about the spectrum between forgiveness and permanence. I thought about the 4 years we'd had before this. The good times, the easy times, the times when I'd been absolutely certain she was the one. Were those years worth nothing now? Did one massive mistake erase everything? I didn't have an answer, but I knew I wasn't ready to close the door forever. I also knew I wasn't ready to open it back up. I texted her for the first time in 5 weeks. "I got your letter." 3 dots appeared immediately. "Thank you for reading it. I'm not ready to talk yet, but I'm not ready to say it's over either. Take all the time you need. I mean it. I need space now. Real space. I understand." I put my phone away. It wasn't closure. It wasn't resolution. But it was honest. 6 weeks became 2 months. I focused on work, on friends, on hobbies I'd neglected. I went on a few dates, nothing serious, just testing the waters of being single again. It felt strange. Not bad, just strange. She kept her word and didn't reach out. But I'd hear things through mutual friends. She was in therapy twice a week. She'd moved back into her own apartment. She'd started painting again, something she'd given up years ago. It sounded like she was genuinely trying to figure herself out. Part of me was glad. Part of me was still angry. 3 months after she'd shown up at my door, I ran into her at the grocery store. We both froze in the produce section. "Hi," she said quietly. "Hi. How are you?" "I'm okay." "You?" "Getting there." We stood there awkwardly, both holding baskets, neither knowing what to say. "You look good," I said finally. "Thanks. So do you." "I've been working out." "I can tell." Another pause. "Can I buy you coffee sometime?" she asked. Not as a date or anything, just to talk. I should have said no. Every logical part of my brain was screaming at me to say no. "Maybe," I said instead. "Maybe. I'm not ready yet. But maybe soon." She smiled, small but genuine. "I'll take maybe." We went our separate ways in the store. But as I was loading groceries into my car, I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't hurt, at least not in the acute, overwhelming way I had been. I was just tired. Tired of carrying the weight of what had happened. Tired of trying to figure out if I should forgive her. Tired of not knowing what I wanted. Maybe that's where healing starts. Not with big revelations or grand gestures. Just with being tired enough to stop fighting it. I texted her when I got home. "Coffee next week?" "Really? Really? Just coffee. Just coffee. Thank you." The coffee shop was neutral territory, a place neither of us had been together before. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with 2 cups in front of her. "I got your usual," she said as I sat down. "Thanks." We talked for 2 hours. Not about us at first, just about life. Her job, my job, a movie we'd both seen, a mutual friend's engagement. It was almost normal, almost like before, except we both knew it wasn't. "I'm proud of you," I said eventually. "For what?" "For doing the work. For going to therapy. For not just expecting everything to go back to normal." She looked down at her cup. I didn't have a choice. I had to figure out why I'd sabotaged the best thing in my life. "And did you?" "Figure it out." "I'm getting there. It's not one simple answer. It's layers of stuff I'd never dealt with." "Your therapist any good?" I asked. She smiled. "She's tough. She doesn't let me make excuses." "Good." She asked me once what I was more afraid of, marrying you or losing you. "What did you say?" I realized I was more afraid of losing myself, of becoming my mother, who gave up everything for my dad, who made herself small so he could be big. I'd met her mother dozens of times and never gotten that impression. "Your mom seems happy." "She is now, but she wasn't always." And I saw how hard it was for her. And I think I convinced myself that marriage meant sacrifice, that I'd have to give up pieces of myself. Did I ever ask you to do that? No, never. But fear isn't rational. We sat in silence for a moment. "I'm sorry I made you the villain in my story," she said. "When the whole time, you were just trying to love me." "I was trying to love you," I agreed. Past tense. I looked at her. Really looked at her. "I don't know," I said honestly. She nodded. "That's fair. I do know that I can't go back to the way things were. If we're going to try again, it has to be different." "Different how?" "Honest. Even when it's scary. Especially when it's scary." "I can do that," she said. "Can you?" "I'm learning to." We left the coffee shop without any grand decisions. No reconciliation, No relationship status, no promises. Just an agreement to keep talking, to keep being honest, to see where it went. Over the next few months, we rebuilt something. Not the relationship we'd had, but something new. We went to therapy together sometimes, worked through the hard conversations with a mediator. We dated, really dated, like people do who are still figuring out if they fit. And slowly, the trust started coming back. Not all at once, but in small moments. When she told me she was having a bad day instead of withdrawing. When I admitted I was still scared she'd leave instead of pretending everything was fine. 6 months after the coffee shop, we were at her apartment. She was cooking dinner. I was setting the table. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Sure. Do you think you'll ever fully trust me again?" I thought about it. I think so. But I think trust is something we build, not something we just have. And I think we're building it. She turned from the stove and looked at me. "I'm never going to take that for granted again." Good. We didn't get re-engaged that night, or even that year. But we kept building, kept being honest, kept choosing each other, even when it was hard. And eventually, the ring came out of the drawer, not as a symbol of what we'd almost had, but as a promise of what we'd fought to become. People ask me sometimes if I regret not walking away completely, if I'm worried she'll do it again. The truth is, I can't predict the future. I can't guarantee that either of us won't mess up again. But I can say that the relationship we have now is stronger than what we had before. Because it's built on honesty, not just on hope. It's built on hard conversations, not just on easy moments. And it's built on the understanding that love isn't just a feeling. It's a choice you make every single day, even when you're scared, especially when you're scared.